As promised, we will turn this panel discussion more into a Q&A, but you're giving me quite a hard time with managing the time limit now that we only have approximately 15 minutes to squeeze you all in, but we'll try our best. So first and foremost, thank you for the presentations, and also I think that we have quite a wide variety of aspects that you presented. Let me start with generally a more broad topic, and I would like to address my question to Thomas. When we speak about climate alliance in general, when we also see how the European Union tries to manage all the questions around sustainable discourse, and also obviously back before the COVID pandemic, we had the European Green Deal, and it all started from there onwards. How successful in general you believe the European Union is in terms of managing the sustainable discourse? And also, how can the EU help, especially municipalities? We heard lots of good examples also now and also previously. But what are your takes on how the EU directly can help municipalities and sustainable municipal transition?
Okay, difficult question. So I think it's difficult to evaluate, let's say, the success of the EU policy or initiative. But in general, I think it is a good way or start with the Green Deal to go into this direction. I think it was a sort of milestone. I think we have also to see that independently how the development in Europe is, also the rest of the world is looking at on what is happening here. So it also has a sort of example to other parts of the world. I think the EU in general was, as I mentioned, with the Covenant of the Mayors, took the initiative to cooperate and work directly with municipalities, seeing them as important actors. So this was a pioneer, let's say, political or a decision internally in the Commission. You see from the projects and initiatives and funding projects how this has developed during the years, all connected through, let's say, an entry point. And we, with the other networks, we installed also a board in the Covenant of Mayors as a direct communication channel with the Commission, because I think it's important to further develop these activities and not only wait for initiatives from the Commission, but to try to, before an initiative is being presented, to also design and support in the designing of the initiative so that they can be much more adapted to the reality of the cities, because still there are a lot of administrative and other obstacles that are hindering, let's say, cities, specifically smaller cities, to have access to all these initiatives and funding. Elena, you presented that there is still a lot of funding there. So it's communication, but it's also helping and supporting them. And so in general, I think what we are now in the next step of the Covenant is to go more to involve the national level, to include, let's say, also the national report, as Miguel mentioned, into to bring the cities reporting in combination with the national reporting, to align and to avoid double counting and double activity. So I think we are on a good way. It's not enough. We know we have to speed up to do more, much more, but I think we are on the right way, and I hope that this can be also with the next Commission. Next year we will have elections. This can be also supported and amplified.
Thank you so much, and I will follow up on that, but the question is directed to you, Dora, because when I work with municipalities, the first or maybe the second question that they ask is how can they get direct EU funds? In your opinion, how can generally the stakeholders from all areas help them realize how they can best get to direct EU funds, and also what's the biggest problem or biggest barrier that stands in the way?
Well, Based on our experience, actually, the local stakeholders were key for them to access the Energy Poverty Advisory Hub technical assistance. It's a different kind of support. It's not direct monies. As said, it's the support of an expert. But the local civil society organization and NGOs were playing a significant role to advertise, promote, and specifically support them in the applications process. Sometimes to reduce the barrier, it's exactly like that. So knowing who are the realities that can support you at the best. It can be not a very complicated process to apply to different grants, but the realities of experts at your level can give you that trust. Even just the encouraging words like it's not complicated, you can do it, just go on, or really support you in the writing of the different things. And I think the more we work on the network and collaborating all together, this is the key to access higher possibilities.
Thank you so much also for the short and concise answer. And yes, we can pass the mic to Miguel. And so that I promise that also all the questions will be asked. We had an online question directed to you, so I will now just read that out. It says, we heard that Galicia region supports with 750K per municipality the implementation of SECAP. How is this distribution of funds organized, and how many municipalities of the region can be supported?
All the municipalities from the region having a SECAP can get this money. Region Galicia is using regional funds, as I said. There is an agreement between DG Energy and DG Regio for the use of the regional funds for the Covenant of Mayors. Connecting to the last question, for a couple of years, municipalities, regions were claiming we don't have enough funds. I think that's not the case anymore. And as you said, money is there. The question is here is how to get the funds. I think regions are going to play a key role here because, as we know, at least DG Regio is distributing this money directly to the regions, and it's the role of the regions to make possible to support SECAPs using this money. In my opinion, we need here a dialogue between regions and municipalities. This is maybe not happening. Municipalities maybe need to insist to develop a channel with regions about how to use the money in the proper way, because the money is there. How the municipality get access to the money and how they can use the money is the point.
Thank you so much. We also have an online question directed to Andreas, namely, what is the best example project in terms of leverage factor Elena has founded?
This is a very difficult question to answer because Elena can support different investments, so maybe there is only a few steps that you need to realize a big investment, so the leverage factor can be very high. For example, for transport, when the municipality wants to buy electrical buses, the investments are very high, but the preparatory costs to decide which type of buses are necessary are probably very small. So we see a lot of high leverage factor projects in transport system. But it can be also the opposite way when you have to renovate a monumental building, which the renovation is very expensive and the resulting investments are small because there is a lot of restrictions. So the leverage factor for individual project may be very, very low. But in general, it's not so important for the individual project if the individual project has a high or low leverage factor. The important aspect is that the total investment of the investment program achieved the leverage factor, required leverage factor. And this is the most important and the only obligation which the projects have when they're asking for Elena.
Thank you so much, and I hope that the distinguished guests will see that not as an intrusion, but I would like to ask two questions for Mario. One is if you have any reflection of what the distinguished colleagues mentioned in terms of the EU's role in terms of how cities, and especially in Croatia, can get direct funds, or what are the biggest barriers? And also, my second question would be, what's your magic? Because you mentioned that you managed to keep people getting in, keep people realizing the importance of the green agenda, which in my personal opinion, at least in my course of work, it's really hard to do when you're a mayor.
Thank you. Regarding the first question, actually also through my work at Energy Cities, I think a better consistency from the top to bottom level, meaning if EU has a regulation, from our Croatian point of view, we know for the fact that our national government tends to find a way to keep everything in pause or to make as long as possible. So if that would be possible, the key actors, which are definitely cities, and I'm always saying that cities and municipalities are the key atoms practically in the whole ecosystem of working as a nationality, European Union, and so on. If we get proper support from EU through our national governances, we can do magic. Regarding what is my magic, thank you, first and foremost. Actually, I really think that being a mayor is a privilege. Obviously, your citizens, or most of them, gave you a chance to do something significant. I'm trying to do as much as possible to communicate with them. We have different platforms. I had prior to COVID every Tuesday meetings with citizens and so on. I don't like to do business as usual, meaning buildings, kindergartens, facilities, sewage, so on. That is a job that has to be done.
You left out planting trees.
Planting trees. Okay, this is the job that has to be done, obviously, in every municipality. I have qualified workers, colleagues that lead these units, and they have a professional obligation to deal with that. On the other hand, I have, once again, privilege to make something significant. And being energy independent, talking about energy poverty, and so on, these are the topics that I have, obviously, mic and the stage to talk about. Kindergartens, look, in Croatia, there are 127 mayors. All of us are building kindergartens because it is needed. Business as usual. On the other hand, talking about energy poverty, I think maybe 5 of us mayors are in that topic completely in line. Sorry, I know I had 2 questions, but once again, I'm a politician. I like to talk much.
It's absolutely okay. And right now, I would like to, first of all, thank you for answering my questions and also the online post questions.